Well, we continue with the broadcast this morning on Asala Media on our various platforms, and it's a time of the day where we bring you eThekwini Secure. We talk about crime talk, our weekly edition. In this morning, we are joined by Mohammed Batman Ismail. Mohammed, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I always begin with an introduction, but Jazakallah for having us again on air.
Mohammed, we're talking this morning about elections 2024, and this is important. We've got 60 million plus people in South Africa. We find that the in recent years, less and less people are actually even registering to vote. We are talking about the young people, and also the number of voters that turn out at the polls on polling day. And considering where we are as a country, and we complaining about the government, we know that there are many saying that this government needs their wings need to be clipped at the polling station. So let's talk about this whole issue surrounding voting, and more importantly, voter apathy.
Absolutely, mate. The thing is that if everybody turned out to the polls and everybody cast their vote, you would see a very, very different picture in terms of what's happening. On the one hand, you get everybody that complains and we say we want to change, in government, we want to change in leadership. But there's those very same people are not coming out to vote. So where is the problem? It's voter apathy at the end of the day. It's also a whole lot of people who can vote who are now not registering to vote, and those are important factors. So where is it, and where do we go to as a country? And a country who wants change and people keep demanding, but you find the same people voting for the same party year in and year out, and that is telling. But at the same time, we notice that it's the middle class who seem not to go to the polls and not to cast their votes. They really don't turn up. So if you unpack it and you want to analyze it, what is the issue there? Are they just not interested, or they're just taking it for granted and saying, "Hey, it's just going to happen. We know that it's going to be the same thing when we go to the polls." But these are the ones who can make a difference by going to cast their vote. So what is the reality here, Inayat? And I'll tell you that the reality is that the government elect is not truly representative of the business sector and the middle income, and of course the youth are falling far behind. So they need to start pooling together and registering and coming out and voting and making a difference. And they're going to be the leaders of tomorrow, so they have to step up.
Yes, but Mohammed, also looking at traditionally and how we've basically grown up in politics, and particularly when it came to election time, and those of us that lived in those traditional communities, like Indian communities, in those years, these things were publicized. There were community engagements. There was, just so much that took place within communities. So people were conscientized. People were aware of the issues. People were even encouraged to go ahead and vote for people of their choice. And we see sometimes very little. I mean, you'll see election posters coming up, put up on the light poles, and that's about it. But we don't see that level of engagement within communities to encourage and to inspire people to vote.
You see, the issue on engagement is there. If you go back in history, 1994, and everybody was euphoric, and it was in electrifying elections, and then it dwindled down as the years went along. There are engagements happening, but the community, the people themselves, they are not coming out to cast their votes. Rather, they're not coming out to meetings, to attend meetings, and to engage. It's only the same leaders who come out all the time, the same community activists who come out all the time and engage in those meetings. And if you look at the voter apathy, if we go a little bit deeper than that, uh, if you look at an area, say a particular ward, it's Wellington in Asia, Overport, or whatever it is, you've got 10,000 registered voters, and only 4,000 voters come out to cast their votes. So what is that telling you? And if you do an analysis and you look who's standing in those queues, it's people from living below the breadline, hoping for a better future, but it's not happening for them. So South Africa then, in essence, is nosediving very, very quickly into a a pro-poor country. And how are we going to get out of that abyss? It's going to go even deeper than we've ever expected. And these things need to change. Where in so much as you were saying, people being conscientized and community engagements, and that I think it needs to be. We need to refresh the outlook. People need to sit back and say, hey, listen, what difference are we going to now make? The difference is you're going to go out to the polls and vote for change. And that has to happen because the beginning of change has to happen somewhere along the line. And we need to go back to grassroots level and engage, you know, community leaders in the true spirit of knowing what people need, because we can't have they and us and the great divide in between, where poverty escalates, where load shedding doesn't end, uh, the prices of bread goes up every single day, and people can't afford basics like bread and milk. It's getting bad.
Yes, and obviously it's not that there is a shortage of resources, especially in this day of social media and this day of technology, because everybody is so deep rooted into technology these days, and with the right messages that go across on these platforms, for example, I mean that would still go a long way in keeping people informed, but more importantly, in getting that message loud and clear that your vote counts irrespective of who you are, what class you from an income perspective, whether you're in the middle income or in the poor. At the end of the day, there are issues that impact and affect all of us.
No, absolutely. But we need to ask yourself, what are people paying attention to in it? That's the important question. What are they paying attention to? Are they going to really worry about a voter registration this weekend? Are we going to go and register to vote, or would they rather be going and doing something else? Socializing and visiting friends and family and doing those other things. What do they think? What do they feel, and what do they want to do? So, what are we paying attention to? Where does our interest lie? It's I think it's not varied. There's a dichotomy in terms of what people want and what they are doing.
Well, definitely, Mohammed. But I think, as I said, there's a lot of hard work still lies ahead, and we got to continue relentless. At the end of the day, it is about a better life. It is about effecting change, and the situation cannot continue where we sit and we complain about the same things day in and day out and complain about the government. Yet we have the power to do something about it, and we are doing absolutely nothing.
Absolutely. Go out, go and register when it's time to register to vote, make a difference. And the message to the youth is start engaging, start having your street meetings, start talking to your leadership and get involved and make the difference. It starts with you guys down there and it goes all the way to the top. And there has to be a change in mind, a shift in the mindset in terms of what we want to achieve. So come elections 2024, there has to be some difference that comes through from the polls. And those people and who scream change must now engage with those parties who can bring that change and who can effect the change and make the difference. And we've got to sort of erode the leadership that we've sort of been used to and taken for granted, because we can't allow that to continue for the rest of our lives. There has to be some improvement in this country with good opposition, with people who exactly know what they are, and then they're not, they've got proper a foreign policy in place. They got their heads screwed on right, and it's not about being selfish. It's about being selfless as leaders, and that's where we need to head to.
Well, Mohammed, we're going to leave it at that. As always, we thank you. Jazakallah for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Mohammed Batman Ismail with us, which brings us straight on to news. We've got Zaid Jedward standing by.